Break me, I will cage you. Obey me, I will save you. What am I?
I have no idea.
So the answer is the law. If you break the law, you will be caged. Then if you obey the law, you will be saved. Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Techtrend Africa. Today we have with me Reuben. Reuben, can you please do the introduction?
Hi everyone, my name is Reuben Kihiu from Kenya. I have a software engineering background and also an entrepreneur, founder of 2 startups in Kenya, and I'm glad to be here.
Your startup, Kanji Energy, is into delivery of electric vehicles battery in Kenya, and we all know that globally 3% of vehicles are electric vehicles sales. How has been the journey so far?
So actually what we do at Chaji is the charging itself. Actually you can hear from the name, we offer charging for 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers. Those are what we call boda here in Kenya. Most of these bikes and tuk-tuks, the 3-wheelers, have batteries that you can swap. Instead of having to wait for it to charge, you can just take it to a swap station, take out your old battery and swap it in with the new one. So it's our work to take those batteries somewhere to our charging station, charge them, and then we distribute them back to our swap centers. It's still early stage, but I'd say it's quite a good journey and very promising. I'd say especially the environment and the ecosystem around the East African development of EVs is quite strong. We have quite a strong community around all the players in the ecosystem, and trying to see how we can all work together.
So Reuben, what brought up the passion for you to dive into this new sector?
So actually the idea for the whole electrification thing started last year. So apart from my background in software engineering and design and all that, I also happen to have a lot of curiosity and passion into engineering and just playing around with electronics. From a previous startup, that is Fika delivery, we used to have the deliveries made by bikes, these normal petrol bikes, and then you'd wonder after going through our records and all and our finances, to be like, most of our money is going into fueling these bikes, maintaining these bikes. And so we would sit down with my team and also with other friends, the guys that I came to found Chaji Energy with. They're mostly the engineers. Why are these bikes too expensive? And so we started looking at other opportunities and other things that we could use, and one of them that came up was electric bikes. So initially we wanted to bring in our own electric bikes. We didn't actually know that there were electric bikes already in Kenya. And it was through our research, we found that there are quite a number of companies back then last year, November, December, that were already into bringing bikes or designing bikes or assembling electric bikes in Kenya. And so we started doing our market research, seeing what are the opportunities that we would fit in. We gotten so interested that we even started thinking of designing our own electric bikes. But after talking to a lot of people in the industry, it dawned to us that the real problem was in charging. Just like you can't buy a car, even there in Lagos, without knowing where you're going to charge it later, or where you're going to fuel it, assuming there are no fuel stations. Companies are struggling to push electric bikes into the market. The main reason why they can't, why people are not taking them up, is because there is no charging infrastructure around them. Eliminate the burden of setting up charging stations from the manufacturers, make it easier for normal people, you, to adapt to EVs.
How has been the market so far? How has been the market acceptance so far?
I'd say most of the manufacturers that they have not really gotten to the point where they're presenting their items to the market. Are currently in the process of setting up, doing their pilots. You have some doing their pilots with people like Uber Eats and other companies, so that they can try and get a feel of how their bikes will do in the country. So if you notice, my experience is mostly with 2 and 3-wheelers. It's still a young market, but considering how big the market in Kenya is, especially with what I mentioned earlier, bodas, those are like the electric motorcycles that carry around. The market is huge, and once we get everything right, the charging, the bikes themselves, making them rugged enough, it's just a matter of when, not if. In terms of electric cars, we already have fleets like Nauperite who are already doing quite good and the acceptance is growing. And also individuals who are taking up, especially enthusiasts who are into the EV culture and interest.
Do you use an electric bike or an electric car?
No, not yet. For personal use, we're still not there yet, but we'll be there soon.
So how have you been funding the project so far?
So far, we've been able to work around with bootstrapping, but we have just started our seed round funding. We have had generous benefactors who have been able to give us some office space where we're working from right now. That is what we're doing. Currently, we have a space to work from. We have a place where our team can do our designs and all our business things. And so I think that in over the next few months is when we're now going to be considering depending on how our first round will be, we'll now start going on to seriously into funding the different aspects of our business.
So as a founder now, how is your day-to-day activity?
A normal a CEO, mostly founders, especially founders of young companies, really never have a defined schedule. You do what comes to your desk and you give it as much time as possible and attention as possible. Sometimes I'll come in and I'll have a string of meetings. Other times I'll not be at the office at all. Sometimes I'll not be a CEO. I'll be at the workshops, working on designs, working on electronics. I'll just get my hands dirty and be like everybody else. So most of the times I'll just in t-shirts and basically making sure everything is going per plan. My engineering team is in check, my finance, my business side is in check, and most of the things I enjoy is actually getting hands-on work. What I enjoy most is just getting my hands dirty with my team and working be like everybody else, taking the Elon Musk style of leadership. I'll be the CEO who spends most of the time at the production floor. So that is what I enjoy most.
So is Elon Musk your role model?
You could say so, especially seeing that you're both in the EV space and both founders, visionaries, and I learned quite a lot about from how he does his thing, following his gut instincts and just trying out stuff, taking risks. I tend to see myself also as quite a risk taker. I've resigned from jobs in the past to work on Chaji, not knowing whether it will live to see the light of day, and sometimes you just have to take risks. So I draw a lot of motivation from him.
So where do you see Chaji in the next, let's say, 5 years?
The next 5 years will be interesting for Chaji because I see a situation where Chaji will be a household name in mobility, just like we have Tesla in the US. We want to work with everybody and not only just have our own success as a company and make a lot of money, but to be the company that makes a lot of impact and enables the transition to EV in Kenya to be the best. And so in the next 5 years, I am seeing us moving from just 2 and 3 wheelers to full-scale charging stations for vehicles, and also not just have the charging stations on the streets. We're also encouraging a model where corporates take up EVs and then we set up private charging stations for them at the premises. And so this is something that we want to see and to also encourage corporates in Kenya to adapt. So I think the next 5 years will be quite an interesting journey.
Are these electric vehicles made in Kenya?
So for 2 and 3 wheelers, because they're small and they do not require a lot of regulations or moving parts or parts that make them, we have companies in Kenya that are actually assembling the bikes and tuk-tuks. So we have some companies that are bringing in parts and assembling them here. We also have other companies that are doing conversions. They're taking normal petrol bikes and converting them into EVs. But the bulk of it still comes from imports from China and India. And so, but we're also trying to work and see how we can work with local manufacturers, academia like universities in Kenya, to bring up local design and local manufacturing here in Kenya.
Let me ask you, you live in one-story house made entirely of red wood. What color would be the stairs?
What color would the stairs be? I don't know. Red wood, so red maybe also. Or black.
One-story house does not have stairs.